relationship and to open up the lines of communication so that you can get to know me, I can get to know you, but more importantly, to know that we are turning a fresh new page in the DeKalb School District. These are challenging times, yes. The problems are many, yes. But I come this afternoon to reaffirm to you that the challenges are great, but the opportunities are greater. We had a great week last week at the DeKalb School District. I had the opportunity for the first time to meet with principals and assistant principals and regional superintendents and administrators from throughout the district. We had a frank and open discussion personally, but we walked away, I believe, with the great majority of people re-energized, excited, and focused on what we can do to restore full accreditation to this district. I said today, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart, I am convinced, beyond any reasonable doubt, that in the midst of this crisis, we are presented with a unique opportunity. And I am blessed to have been given the opportunity to work with you all to meet the challenges that we face. Within the next week, as soon as we get a quorum, a full board, I'm going to present my 90-day plan to the new board and to the district and to the public that encompasses more detail about where, number one, I believe that we are, but more importantly, about where we will go over the next 12 months. I've looked inside the DeKalb School District, and I understand the problems. But I'm a person who believes as a leader that we really shouldn't focus only on our deficits. I'm convinced in leadership opportunities like this, particularly in crisis leadership opportunities, deficit-driven strategies rarely succeed. And this is what I mean. You all have been in meetings, in the community, at work, even in the place of worship, where you engage in a meeting and then 30 minutes pass, an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you realize that we spent all of that time simply documenting and revisiting the problems, the deficit, what is wrong, what is not right. Nothing wrong with that. But my philosophy is somewhat different. When I walk into a situation, my first impulse is to determine the assets. Asset-driven strategies are often most successful. So even in DeKalb County, even in our school district, facing probationary accreditation, I first look to see what assets did we possess, and they are many. Our number one asset, of course, are our intelligent, beautiful, bright young boys and girls who are enrolled in our district. 98,000 assets. I'm meeting on a daily basis our employees, some 13,000 to 14,000 assets. Teachers who really is not so much a profession as it is a calling. I was asked by a reporter on the day after the 6 board members were suspended. Said, well, what are you all doing at the school district? And I reported to him, you know, early on the next morning, our teachers reported to their classrooms, and they did what they had been called to do, was to teach our children. I told them that the bus drivers were still on time. They picked the kids up, they carried them to school, and they returned them home safely. Our crossing guards were on busy streets, making sure that your sons and your daughters were able to traverse the busy traffic in the same way. Our cafeteria workers prepared delicious meals just like they would on any other day. Some things I can control, some things I cannot control. And I'll be honest with you, most of the problems, the great majority of the problems that we face, I had absolutely nothing to do with. Give me a hand for that. That's a good thing, right? Isn't that right, Councilman? No, you know, but, and I see Commissioner Johnson is here. How you doing, Commissioner? And of course, I got to recognize Senator Miller. Senator, give him a hand. This is his district. I could not come in here until I got a pass from Senator Miller. Is that right? Does he do that with all those officials? I had to get a pass, so I'm here. But, you know, I didn't create them, but the morning that Judge Allen asked me to raise my right hand, and when he asked me if I will, and I said I will, served as the interim superintendent of this district. I didn't create the problem, but every problem that exists, I'm responsible for. I own it. Not the school board, not this board member, not any elected official, not any principal, not any regional superintendent. They're mine. And I have no reservation, because I could have said no, but I volunteered for the duty. Now, how are we going to move forward? First of all, and I'll be honest with you all, I had 2 people warning me, do not go to Dunwoody.
That's all?
Don't go up to Dunwoody, because the people up there, they don't want to hear you, and there are issues and between geography. But you know what? All I see are people who love children and who want the best for this district. We are going to build a district, north and south, east and west, that will serve all of our children. We're going to do it by having discussions, by answering questions. And by the way, I'm not sensitive. Been in Georgia politics more than 25 years. I've been called everything you could be called. I've heard it all before. I'm not sensitive. We can be honest, we can be straightforward, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I think it's important for us to seek common ground. Now, I'm going to stop, and I want to share with you all, I have Ms. Tyson, as to where we are in responding to the SAC action items. And it's interesting. And you hear a lot of things in the press, right? One of the most compelling things that I've learned since I've been there, when we went down to the state board hearing a couple of weeks ago, a question was raised that SAC had sent a letter, I think on December 17th or 18th, and Mr. Elgard had not received one letter, one email, one telephone call, one correspondence from the DeKalb School District until the 2nd week in February when I called, when it was arranged for us to meet. And so over and over again, the question was raised at the state board meeting, why didn't someone respond? Right? But I'm happy to report to you that the failure to respond was not for indifference and it was not for incompetence. It just wasn't. A question has been raised on several occasions about the lost textbooks, or the textbooks that never showed up, that was ordered and never arrived in the classroom, and the $12 million that's missing that no one knows where it is. Didn't you hear that?
Yes.
Matter of fact, before I ever dreamed I would be the superintendent, I heard it too. And I said, old people over at DeKalb have lost their minds, right? I'm happy to report that in December we knew where the textbooks were. In January we knew where the textbooks were. In February we knew where every textbook that was ordered, received, and placed in class. We knew in December, we knew in January, we knew in February. We're going to share, Dr. Howard's here. She will share the background information to help you. So what I'm going to do, well, do you have any questions, thoughts before you hear these 2 reports? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for taking our question tonight. I have heard that there is a hiring freeze on replacing any vacant teacher positions, and that for the duration of the year, any teacher position that was open would be filled only with substitute teachers. And while this does not affect any of my children, I'm worried about the county for students that would have 30% of the year not have a permanent teacher in place, and the implications of the other academic success, not having a vested teacher who can feed their academic records, unlike a substitute.
Well, I thought we sent out a memo, and basically the memo said there is a hiring freeze for any position that does not impact the classroom. Basically, hiring freezes at the central office, but not hiring freezes that impact the classroom. And we distributed a memo, and if you give me your email, I'll be happy to share it with you. So, because people hear things, and so we want to correct that, and really it's just the opposite. There will be no hiring freezes on teachers or any other personnel that have a direct impact on the classroom.
Thank you.
No problem. But that's not so at the central office because there is a hiring freeze there.
Hey, Michael, why
Yes,
don't
sir.
you comment to these people? Everybody's concerned about the size of our school system. Your feelings about one size doesn't fit all, and some of the ideas you have there about some things that should maybe be different to get this thing brought down more on the local level, the cluster level, if you will.
Well, I'm very impressed with the regional superintendents, and Dr. Ziegler is here, the regional superintendent in Region 1. Stand up, Doc. Give her a hand. She is the regional superintendent. And I have long believed before this opportunity that in order to really, especially large bureaucracy in the public sector, that decision-making should be done at the point closest to the delivery of the service or the product. The service we provide, of course, is education to our children. And so in order to get more efficient and effective decision-making, that we need to empower our regional superintendents to work more closely with more resources with our principals and other administrators. We met, I guess it was this week, and Dr. Ziegler, you may want to share with what I've tasked our regional superintendents and central office personnel to begin to work on that's going to transform how I think the DeKalb school system should work. Centralization is really, really ponderous, and especially when you're serving 99,000 children, and one size, the senator points out, one size does not fit all. It just doesn't. And so if you really look at our population, we have really 5, 6 different population school districts here. Now what we have to do is have a common goal with a common mission, and that is to provide a quality education for all of our children, right? Now how you get there may be different, but the real question is not how you get there, but the question is what will you get there? And if we can create a more customized, customer-focused approach, I think we're going to be more efficient and effective, and that process is already underway. And you're going to see more resources, decision-making at the regional level, and less so at the central office. Yes, ma'am.
I think I speak on behalf of a lot of parents here. We are tired. And I went to a meeting with Dr. Atkinson when she was first brought in as superintendent, and she spoke a good game, and we were all let down. And you're up there speaking a good game too. So I just want to give a plea on behalf of us. Please don't let us down again.
Well, I need your help. I need your help. Now, I'm talking a good game, but I do bring a record with me. And it's not all about what I am going to do, but you can do a little research and see what I have done. The point is, I'm very focused, I'm very committed, but I need your help. I'm one man, tasked with a major problem that I'm proud to be a part of. But I need the help of every parent, every stakeholder. The first thing I need, and there are people who say, well, we don't know about Michael Thurmond. He's never really run a school district, and that's fair. I haven't. That's fair. But all I'm asking parents, stakeholders, students, employees to do is to at least give me a chance. I'm not going to let you down. We are going to be successful. And I'm just telling you from the bottom of my heart, I'm telling you that. But we're in a position, one of the things we have to do, we have to restore some trust. And I know I'm going to have to earn it, but at the same time, you have to be given the opportunity to earn it. And really, that's all I'm asking, is an opportunity to restore trust. That's why I'm here tonight, asking you for that opportunity to give me a chance to help turn this district around. And together, we're going to do something really that hadn't been done anywhere in this country. We're going to take a large urban school district of an extremely diverse population, challenged financially, and transform it and restore it to the position of elite and promise that it once held. And we're going to do it together. There are a lot of people who believe that it cannot be done. I meet people every day and they say, oh, we feel sorry for you. You're in a hopeless situation. But I mean, really, just strangers come up just, they shake their hand. I say, I'm happy. I'm delighted to be here. I have spent my entire life preparing me for this moment. And I would not be anywhere else. Because I believe, I know we have good parents. We're going to prove people wrong. Let me tell you how we're going to prove them wrong.
I hope I am proved wrong. I really do.
Yeah, we're going to prove them wrong. Because they don't believe that the Republicans can work with the Democrats. even to save our children. They think that partisan bickering will supersede even the desire to educate our own children. They don't believe that black folk and the white folk will ever sit down and put together a school system that can serve all of our children, the poor, the middle class, and the wealthy. They just don't believe it, and I'm telling you, they are wrong, and we're going to prove them wrong. Yes, ma'am.
You're asking us to give you the opportunity. Can we ask you, as a Dunwoody community, that you give us the opportunity to help you help our children, and that you'll listen to our ideas, to work with your ideas, so that we're both giving each other the opportunity to do what's best for the children of DeKalb County. But that as much as you give us ideas, that you will please listen to our ideas, not just Ms. Ziegler, because I know she listens to us daily, if not multiple times daily. But we ask that you listen to what we give you as opportunities, what we think can help the school system as a whole. Will you give us that openly, that you will also listen to our options?
Absolutely. I'm an intense listener. Fundamental to my leadership philosophy is first you have to listen. And let me tell you, it's not just listening to the people you agree with. The challenge is, will you listen to people who might disagree with you? But you cannot learn if you do not what? Listen. I am here tonight to say to each and every parent and anyone who's watching or listening in the media is that I am here to listen, to learn, and then to lead. Listen, I want great ideas. I don't care where they come from. It doesn't matter, because it's really not about that. If we can educate, help one more child to graduate from high school as opposed to dropping out, if we can help one more child who maybe not interested in going to college but can pursue a career through technical school or the military, then I'm for it. There's no way I can be against that. It's just not. My presence tonight, I hope, suggests that I'm a person who's open and willing to listen, but not just listen, but I want to learn. Gentleman in the back, I'm sorry.
I also wanted to point out a few more people that are here. Terry Knopf from the Dunwoody City Council, Bates Madison from Dorville City Council, Steve Wilkins.
Brookhaven.
I'm sorry. Everybody says Dorville. Steve Wilkins, our COO of DeKalb County School System, is here. Doug Thompson. Commissioner Lee May from South DeKalb, thank you for coming up. Commissioner Larry Johnson, Tom Taylor, and then Ms. Ziegler, Ms. Howe, and Ms. Tyson, thank you. And I have a couple questions that were handed to me and that were sent in, so I'm going to ask you those. What is going on with the balanced calendar now that Superintendent Atkinson is no longer here? Question number one. Question number two, which I think is really important to a lot of people here, when will the legal fees for the suspended board be cut off?
Let me answer the second question first. I'm an attorney by profession. We are spending way too much money for lawyers. And as a matter of fact, after church today, I met with a professional. I was talking about comparing what we pay in attorney's fees to other districts similarly situated in metropolitan Atlanta. That is going to change. I'm just telling you, that's going to change. That will be a part of the 90-day plan. That's a news flash. On the second issue, the balanced calendar, one of the things I've asked our senior management team to do, as well as our principals, to look at pending policies, rules, and regulations. Not yet implemented. Before we add more, sometimes it's good to clean house and get rid of things that you don't need. In bureaucracies, what we tend to do is add more stuff on stuff. So our first priority now is to inventory all policies implemented and pending to determine which, if any of them, we need to do in the short term. I have heard from parents, matter of fact, my next door neighbor who lives across the street, that the day that it was announced that I was the new superintendent, I went out to get my mail, and he came running out of the house, and he said, "My wife hates the balanced calendar." At that point, I wasn't sure what the balanced calendar was, right? But that was the first suggestion I received, believe it or not. We're going to look at all of this. If it doesn't make sense, we don't have to do it. Plus, we're in a crisis. And so what we're going to get back to, and I hate the sports analogy, is blocking and tackling. Let's get back to the fundamentals. Let's get back to teaching our children, focusing on academic excellence and achievement and growth, and then grow from there.
When you ask your question, if you would please state your name too, that would be great. Thank you.
It's back to me. This gentleman in the back, then I'll come back forward.
The question that you answered partly there about the legal fees, what would you specifically say to people on the Board of Education that have not dropped their legal challenges at this point? What would you personally say to them? Because obviously they continue to suck money, our taxpayer money out of the school district, folks who suck money on the schools and on our teachers who are fabulous, by the way.
Now, give our teachers a hand in Dunwoody. Issue. Personally, I work with the governor, and it's no secret. We wanted to effect a compromise that would have prevented a long and divisive and expensive legal appeal. It did not happen. Now, oftentimes, and one of the things we have to do in terms of listening and learning is that in truly to really learn, sometimes you have to put yourself in another person's position. Not sympathy, not empathy, but understanding where the next person, the next man, the next woman is coming from. On the issue of the lawsuit, there are individuals on the board and residents of DeKalb County who believe that the right to vote is sacred. And for good reason. Because when you deal with individuals who may have had a history of not having the right to vote, or having that right abridged, or taken away, or denied, and then through long history seeing individuals who've been brutalized and all type of things trying to get the right to vote, these individuals feel that that supersedes any and everything else. That the right to vote is central to a democracy. And if that is diluted, then it dilutes not just the school district, but it dilutes democracy. And I have talked to individuals who believe that, and believe it honestly, and they believe it sincerely, and I can't question that. What I do believe, though, is that we will be a much better district. No, we'll be a better county. Because, see, oftentimes we talk about the dysfunction on the board, but oftentimes dysfunctional voters elect who? Dysfunctional leaders. And what we have to accept, really, in our county, which I think we're going to overcome, and we're going to help create a better school district, we're going to have to create a better county. And it has to be a county where people from different backgrounds, different views, different philosophies can sit there and work through challenging problems. Now, and so that's where I leave it, and I accept them. If someone tells me that is their fundamental belief, I can't challenge it, because I understand it. I just understand it. Now, at the end of the day, back to attorney's fees, that lawsuit, as expensive as it is not the most expensive legal fee item we have to address. Right? I'm dumbfounded by the fact that in a school district where we can't buy every child who needs a textbook, and we can't give our teachers raises that go 5 years without them, right? And we can't contribute into the retirement as we promised that we would do. We can't afford to spend that type of money on lawyers. Just can't do it. And I'm not going to do it. And one of the advantages you have is that I am a lawyer. I know the game. We can do better than what we... No, let me change that. We will do better. I promise you that, sir. Yes, sir, I think you had to hand it.
Yes, Robert Wittenstein. There are some new efforts in the Dunwoody community spearheaded to look at alternatives for us to get some additional control over our education and our school system. I wonder if you would comment on your reactions to those and which kinds of things might we hope to get your help on in the weeks and months and years to come.
As a parent, I'll be honest with you, you need to do what you believe is in the best interest of your child. Just do it. You get one shot. And if you believe creating a separate district in Dunwoody is in the best interest of your child and your children, then I would be the last one on the face of this earth to oppose it or try to convince you not to do it. Now, in the interim, while you're trying to pass the constitutional amendment and create the new district, I'm responsible for educating your children. And my job is to do everything I can in the interim to improve that educational opportunity. And that's it. That's just what I believe.
Hi, my name is Kate Butler-Plum. I'm a parent of two high schoolers at Dunwoody High School, but I'm also a teacher. And my question is, we all know that we need to do a better job at doing what we need to do for our students. But in order to do that, you have to keep the teachers. And there's a lot of things over the last 5 years that have happened, you know, decisions that have been made, I'm not going to go into all of them, that, and it's not just salary guys, that have negatively impacted what we take home. And at some point, teachers are going to leave. And I want to know what you're doing to keep the good ones. What are you doing to keep us from going to other places that have their welcome mat out for us? Because I love where I teach. I love living in this county. But at some point, the dollars, they're very important. What I can do for my family. And it's been going down with that slippery slope for the last 5 years. Every year it's worse. And it's not just because of the economy. It's because of decisions. So what are you going to do to help us stay?
Well, first, back to the gentleman's question. The money we do have, we need to invest it more wisely, first of all. Secondly, we need to make sure, as you said, it's not just money, but money is important. We don't want you working for free. We don't want paupers, right? We are going to get our fiscal house in order. The good news is we started this fiscal year with a $16 million deficit. We put in place a plan that has dramatically reduced that deficit. And if the economy holds, we had good news on the job market last Friday, we're moving in a direction where we'll be back in the black and not in the red. And that's the first thing. Something else you said I think is very important. And this is from just experience from another career I had. If you survey employees, whether it's in the school system or in the private sector, the greatest part of their dissatisfaction is not necessarily their salary. They feel like they are not fully appreciated by their employers and their supervisors. That doesn't cost one single penny, does it, for us to do a better job. And one of the things I said at the principal meeting, we're going to eliminate, there will be no intimidation and bullying of our teachers or any other personnel. We're going to publicly state, number one, that we appreciate you. We're going to avoid sending them policies and rules and regulations asking you to do more stuff that doesn't really make any sense, not asking you to do more that we have control over. The things that come from the federal government and the state government, we don't necessarily have control over. We have to go to the senator. But here in DeKalb, putting pressure on you, Senator. But here in DeKalb, we're going to make sure we're not creating things that don't necessarily need to be done. Just to show that we recognize that, number one, you need better pay, you will get better pay, and one of the things I'm going to try to do as hard and as much as I can is to restore at least some furlough days. 4 hours. And the good news is the economy is getting better. So that means, and I noticed that property values are up 10% over a year, which means that some of the revenue that's been lost during the recession is on its way back. Now, it's not just locally, too, because, you know, the state government cut over $1.23 billion out of local appropriation. But we can't blame the state or the state of the economy, because first, we got to get our house in order. Yes, sir.
Michael, actually, you said something before about having some experience for a job. You had one before? Well, I have some experience in this too for a job. I had one. But anyway, the teachers are the last ones we get to. We always get it down the line, we come click, 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 and we get to the bottom. They're the biggest pull. So they're the place that you've got to take the money from, because there's no place else you can get those kind of payers. I understand that. The point is, we have to, and you said it, we have to continue to work and find a way to get to them as quickly as we can get to them. Because I watch it, and no matter what's going on in this whole system, and no matter where it's happening, you show up at 8:30 and you look at the classroom door, they're on the floor, they're standing up in front, and they're doing their job. And they don't do it with any animosity. They love those children, but they carry it home, and they got to deal with it. And we just have to, we can't talk about it. We got to start today. to figure a way of doing it. Whatever it may cost us, we have to do it now, before they do leave us. They are our most valuable asset. We have to start at the bottom, because we consider them the bottom, and work up. I want to put them up here first, and before you get a new program, or we get this new, or we get this new, they have to be taken care of. Whatever that might take. And you're right, it doesn't always have to be money, but it's got to be something to let them know that they are our most valuable asset in this whole system.
You're absolutely right.
And we
I
have-
agree with you. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The first senior staff meeting I had with my senior leaders, and I told my human resource director, number one, if we have $1, you direct it to the classroom.
Exactly.
And that was, I guess it was an executive order.